Hi there, hope you're doing all right. Watching a few videos today about different things. God, it gets overwhelming sometimes, isn't it? What's going on? That's part of it, really. That how do we look after our own psyches, really? If you're trying to take it all in, but you just can't take it all in. I was just watching something about AI and the threats of it, and who's behind it, and what they want to do with it, and how they want to use it to kind of reduce people's cognition and ability to create and this sort of thing, as well as other things. Surveillance, obviously, is another aspect of it. So all this AI stuff coming from every direction. All the adverts I seem to be getting lately are to do with AI, whether it's about writing or creating your website with AI or whatever it is. I've noticed a lot more videos about various subjects using an AI voice more than ever before. I suppose I don't know. I mean, some of the voices sound better than others, don't they? And some of them have more of a human intonation. I mean, what happens when it gets, and maybe they've already got it there, that you just can't tell the difference. But maybe at some instinctive level, we will be able to tell the difference. There's just still something missing there. I mean, sometimes it's some really obvious intonation and the way it's being phrased and sometimes even pronounced. There's little giveaways that there's some I've been listening to and I think, oh God, no, that I can't work out what it is. Is it a real voice or is it AI? And I don't even know. I don't even know how they work. I suppose I could look into it. I'm sure other people have. Are they sampling an actual person's voice, putting that into the computer, and then adding a dictionary to it so that the sampled voice doesn't have to say every single word that's in the dictionary? They just get a tone and then the computer can just say any word, and then there's sort of little tricks to make it flow a bit so it's not like a staccato robot. So I don't know whether that's that or not. I have been thinking about the miscarriage of justice against Lucy Letby and nurse Lucy Letby. I'm not on Twitter anymore or on Facebook, so I haven't heard anything whether Mark McDonald or the team or any part of his team or he himself, presumably he'd be the main spokesman for it, has made any comment with regard to the recent stories that have come out, about the arrests of the managers, 3 managers, and B, about this file being sent to the CPS from Cheshire Police in respect of Lucy Letby. So I don't know, maybe perhaps other people have heard things. What else? I've been thinking about this term natural law. I don't know how old it is, natural law. Maybe it's very ancient. But I've heard it for a number of years now and seems to have a crossover with the concept of karma, doesn't it? Seems to. Maybe there are distinctions. Again, I could look it all up, but comes back to a bit of a crossover with the AI stuff, that I'm often reluctant to look stuff up on the computer. I kind of want to get it through some other direct human source, or a book, or a physical book, or even if it was I don't know, a sort of digitized physical book, rather than, I mean, I have looked things up where you get on the Google and the AI says the answer or an answer. But I'm sort of reluctant to do it often because it's just feeling too easy again, and I don't know whether to trust it. And I've forgotten what the question was now. What was what was the question? The question was about oh yeah, natural law, where it comes from, the term. Probably be on Wikipedia and everything. But then we can also work out our own definitions of these things about what they might mean to us. Anyway, that's a long way round of why I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it in terms of, well, all injustice really, but, well, just to specify about the terrible injustice against Lucy Letby and her family and friends that care about her, and obviously it's an injustice against all the parents as well, and it's an injustice against all the babies concerned, because they're being lied about. They've been lied about. Their experiences have been lied about. Their reality has been lied about for many years now by many people. The natural law aspect of it, the reason why I was thinking about that is I was thinking, well, when's that going to happen then? And is that taking place already in respect of the main architects of the injustice? So the police, CPS, Evans, obviously that group of consultants, the criminal justice system. There's a lot of individuals involved there that is natural law working itself through in their lives to some degree. It's not a case of you have to independently wish for it to happen. It's the idea that it just will happen. It just will work itself through. In other words, things can't go right for those people. They might seem to be going right for a long time. They had their heyday. They had their day in the sun, didn't they? Evans and Jayaram, when they were first being interviewed after the trial, they were all full of themselves, and everybody wanted a piece of them from their perspective. They thought in a good way, and they were being boosted and built up as sort of heroes. Called heroes, and that's not the case anymore. Those days are over. Of course, there are still some people defending them and defending the fake story and the injustice and trying to maintain it. And obviously the system is full on trying to maintain it. But those individuals don't know what's happening in their private lives, although there was some talk with regard to one or two of them, things not going particularly well. But I don't need to know on a personal level, but it's just this idea of some universal law of universal natural law that none of the people involved in putting an innocent person in prison and stealing her life and destroying her life can be allowed by this universal natural law to have. It might, as I say, they might seem as though they've got away with it temporarily, but I don't think so. And I think that's right. It's obviously right that they shouldn't get away with it. In other words, it's going to come back on them. So other people may term it as a karmic, come back on them karmically. But this idea of natural law that they won't be able to be. I was thinking about whoever, you could pick any of them really, psychically, there will be, not just psychically, but emotionally, things will be going wrong, and they'll be in a state, they won't rest, there'll be no genuine rest. How can you be one of those consultants in that gang, as they called themselves, or as they were called, and then they took on the name of a gang as well? How can you be Hughes? How can you be Evans? How can you be Nicholas Johnson? How can you be even some of the commentators? I don't know. I don't want to use the names, but one of the, the usual ones that have been. Anyway, some of the negative commentators that want to prop it up still, and keep pushing it. I don't think you're going to know real contentment or peace of mind, and that's what happens when you do things like this. That's what happens when you're party to it. You're not allowed it. You're not allowed real peace of mind. You're not allowed things go wrong. And as I say, it's not about me or any other individual who are concerned about this. It's not about wishing it. It just is going to happen because you've set that up. You've set that in motion by the bad, by the wicked thing, by the untrue things, by bearing false witness, by lying about someone, by destroying innocence, by attacking innocence, by causing great harm, and putting out this series of terrible, awful, disgusting lies in the world. And you're doing it, I mean, in this particular case, about what I raised earlier, about those totally innocent young new souls, some which have gone beyond now and gone elsewhere, and some where, and where they lied and they said there was an attempted murder, but actually it was often medical negligence, or just the failures of that unit, or error sometimes of those consultants, and a failing system. But they're lying that these people, then the whole system as a whole, and they're doubling down, tripling down on lying about those perfectly innocent young souls, as well as innocent Lucy Letby, as well as that. And these are unconscionable things, very bad things, I think that's what unconscionable means, something very bad. It's very bad things that they're trying to force to exist in the world through the violence of these lies, which has resulted in someone, Lucy Letby, having her life torn apart and all her hopes and dreams just shattered by these lies and by this ugliness and this lack of conscience, lack of care, and self-preservation, selfishness, and what, Hughes, I think they're all being directed to do what they do, but they're willing parties to it, and they're being paid to do it, and they're winning awards. So they're all storing up. Someone like Hughes is storing up, if it's not coming back at him already in his personal life, storing up massive problems for the future, I believe, in all kinds of ways. And it's not for the individual to say how it's going to happen. It's this mechanism, this universal mechanism, if we believe in such a thing. And it's not enough. I know it's not enough just to wait for that to work itself out, as though people don't have to do anything, or the system doesn't have to be made to rectify the evil that it's done. And it is evil what it's done. And obviously not just to Lucy Letby, but to lots of other people in lots of other cases before, currently, and no doubt will do in the future. But perhaps that's part of the universal, perhaps that's part of natural law as well, is that when such evil things are done, it galvanizes, or it encourages a certain amount of energy, and that can come from all kinds of sources, as it has indeed done. Obviously, that's Shu Lee and all those experts. They've been galvanized into, they're doing it all they're not doing it for any money. They're doing it because it's right. They're doing it because it's right, and it's just, and it's going to overturn. I mean, they can never really put it right, in terms of the system, can never really put it right, because they've done so much damage. but they've just got to be made to stop doing more damage. And what is so horrific about these systems is that there's nothing within it, and certainly within many people within those systems that care about the damage that has been done. They don't individually care, and the system as a whole doesn't care. And there's a huge amount of cynicism, and I mean, I suspect it's way worse than we even can imagine. But now and again, they let something slip, as Lord Denning did all that time ago. They let it slip. What most of them think, Oh yeah, it's just we can't. What else was I watching? Oh, lots of things. Anyway, I'll leave it there. But it's a it's a strange world, and I don't know where it's all going really. Take care, and but there are sort of forces. I don't know if that's the right word. There's kind of a will to put these things right, and that's something we can appreciate and take some comfort in, isn't it? And obviously that it's got to be as soon as possible. Can't, but we're up. It's up against great resistance. It's up against a lot of resistance, isn't it? Yeah. Good night.